Make sure your insurance doesn't come up short. Get gap cover with ALA. For more information, follow the links in the description.
Hello everybody, there isn't a petrol head alive out there who hasn't dreamed of something like this. A supercar and an alpine road. It's a real magazine moment, the Top Gear fantasy of the young man or lady. And today, my good friend Ben the Sparkle gets to live his. But you'll recall, as exotic and wonderful as those Top Gear road trips were, there was always a reason behind it. So what's ours? Well, it's a real classic. You could make a very good argument that something like this, the 830 horsepower, 200 plus mile an hour Ferrari 296 GTS is more car than anybody would ever need. And you could say that something like Ben's Ford Focus ST is all the car anybody ever needs. And, close your ears, Ben, he might be right. But I have always said that a supercar is about far more than just raw speed. So today we're asking the very simple question. On a road like this, where in this car he can't go any faster than he would in his Focus, is there still a reason to bring a supercar? Find out in today's very special guest star episode of JayEmm on Cars.
Hi, I'm Ben, or as Jay calls me, Ben the Sparkle. We are here in beautiful Switzerland in a car kindly lent to us by Ferrari, the 296 GTS. For the last 10 years or so, I've driven 200 to 300 brake horsepower hot hatches, and for me, it's all I've ever really needed. And the only reason I got out of one of them is because it was too small for my son. Now my Focus has got 290 brake horsepower, which means that if you put your foot down in second, third or fourth, it'll pull you to the speed limit nicely, but you're actually getting some interaction with the car. Shifting 2 or 3 times if you don't take it to the red line. But with something like this, you put it in second, third or seventh and put your foot down, and within 2 or 3 seconds you are in the stratosphere. And at that point I think that it's called diminishing returns, because how much power is too much power? And can any mere mortal the other side of Chris Harris really use it all anywhere outside of a track? And honestly, I think that this car, even on a track, is going to be too much for 95% of the people that buy them. About a month or so ago, I went out in a V8 R8 manual, an original one. In fact, it was the one that Jeremy Clarkson drove on Top Gear, part of Audi UK's heritage fleet. And with the R8, I really felt like you could use a lot of the power. Maybe not all of it everywhere, but you could start off in second and wring its neck a little bit and get into third, and you're still okay. Later on, I drove the V10 R8, the GT, last of line, 630 brake horsepower, naturally aspirated V10 with rear wheel drive, and that car was a world away from the original V8 R8 with a manual gearbox. It was, to be quite honest, too much. And little did I know that I would be driving an 830 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive, V6, twin turbo with hybrid assistance Ferrari around switchback corners on a mountain pass barely a month later, at which point you could quite honestly be in a Honda S2000 and get more out of the car. But that's not the point. Supercars are more than just numbers, raw power. It's how they make you feel and how they make other people feel. I quite honestly feel that some cars are almost like doing a public service, because when you pull up at a petrol station or you park up at the hotel at night, it will draw a crowd immediately. And yes, for some, it could be a boasty, look at me, look at me, look at what I've got. But for others, it's a joy, because you can let people sit in your car and that will make their day, and then they can start your car and it will make their week. And if you've got time and you know a couple of little local roads for 10 minutes, it will make their month. And I think that's what these cars are all about. They draw so much attention. There's everything on this journey, from Aston Martins to Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis to Alpine, you name it, it's here. But the one car that's getting the most attention isn't the £400,000 Ferrari in bright yellow with the roof missing. It's actually an R34 Skyline in ocean blue. It's Bayside blue, but with a little bit of flake in it. It's gorgeous. And the man can't fill up his tank without being mobbed by people wanting to take pictures with it. It's a cult classic, an icon of a car. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about supercars. But this Ferrari, I think, is the epitome of diminishing returns, not because of its price, but because you cannot possibly, on a road like this, use all the power. You really would get more use out of a Honda S2000 because you have to rein it in. You could have made this a 3-litre naturally aspirated V6 with a little bit of hybrid to push, and it would have been just as good. 400 brake horsepower? Fine. There are people who are going to be directly scrolling down to the comments now to tell me I'm wrong. But if you were here with these drops next to you and these corners this tight and coaches on the wrong side of the road coming towards you, you would not want to be unleashing 830 brake horsepower through the rear wheels of this car. The guys here in the Alpines, I think they've got the right idea. More cows. This place is just truly beautiful. I've been doing quite a bit of the driving while we're here, and that might make some people say that I'm the lucky one. But Jay in the passenger seat gets to look at and enjoy all of this scenery. Oh, just... You could drive this thing between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM using second, third and fourth all day. You don't need any more. You just don't. No, I don't own a supercar, probably never will. If you want to help me get there, let me clean your car. Go to milebymile.co.uk. But seriously, as someone who doesn't own a supercar, the first thing I noticed in this car was the steering. All I wanted to do was shift myself about in the seat when we first got going. And any tiny input, an nth of a degree, will make the car move. What to talk about next? Brakes. They are incredible. You barely even need to touch them and it will stop on a dime. They are huge. Carbon ceramics, of course. The suspension, well, it's got various different modes, but my favourite is bumpy road mode because it's very cosseting. And the seats, coupled with that suspension, well, we've covered the last 600 miles without any backache at all. It's all very, very comfortable. The steering wheel is probably the best I've ever held, and that's not saying a lot because I haven't driven that many supercars, but I've driven a few. But this wheel is so comfortable. Again, after 600 miles, no problems. Maybe except one. We'll touch on it very briefly because it's already been slated to death, but the haptic feedback buttons on the wheel. There's no tactility to it. More cows. So I'm just getting distracted by this place constantly. Let's talk about the engine. The point of contention. It's a 3-litre V6, 120 degree, with 2 turbos in the middle, making it a hot V. And this, to some people, isn't good enough because it's not a V8. And I can assure you that 99.9% of those people haven't actually driven the car. When you've got it bouncing off of the walls next to you as you're going through the pass, it just sounds fantastic. A couple of little pops, crackles and burbles on the overrun, nothing too artificial. It sounds great. It really is a stunning engine. That was 3,000 to 4,000 in second gear. That's it. It goes round to 8.5, and it's got 8 ratios. This thing will, if you can go somewhere legally like the Autobahn, which we will be doing later in this trip, you can do 205 mile an hour in this car, which again, I would argue is just unnecessary. And this car's base price is £280,000, and with the spec that this car has, this gorgeous triple layer yellow, and all of the carbon bits and pieces and the upgraded sound system comes in at £392,000. I'm pretty sure there are other drivers' cars out there that you could buy for an eighth of that amount of money. Is this car worth it? Does it make you feel any different than a Cayman S2000 911? Yes, absolutely. For those who can afford this sort of thing, it's worth every penny. The key is just an enamel Ferrari badge, which from the moment you pick it up and unlock the car and get in it and fire up that engine, all worth it. All of your hard work and effort through your life to be able to get into something like this and call it yours is worth it. It gives you a different feeling. Would you have a better time driving these roads in an S2000? Probably yes, because you'd be able to use more of it. Now this is all coming from someone who has only driven maybe half a dozen or maybe a few more supercars up until this point. But as the power kept going up, I was having a little less fun each time. I felt a little less able to use the car and involved. Now I'm just a mere mortal, but you can only have so much skill and one day it will run out. And you don't want it to run out when you're at the wheel of a £400,000, 830 brake horsepower rear-wheel drive Ferrari. Future Ben here, live from Route Napoleon. I have had quite a bit more time with the car than I had when I made the first bit that you've seen just now. And although my opinion hasn't changed a hell of a lot, it has changed a bit. Because once I got more confident with the car and knew that it wasn't going to do Mustang leaving a car show tricks, it's really quite good on the road. It's still far too much for most people, but if you understand how the car works and the various different settings, sport, race, etc., you really can use quite a lot of this car on the road pretty legally. And on roads like this, you want to keep it on the good side of that, because the other option is a very quick drop. Now yesterday, I forgot to mention about the hybrid system in this car, which is a big point of contention, and one that for me, when I heard Ferrari were ditching the V8, putting in a V6, and then adding hybrid to it, I went, oh no, that's it. The soul of the car's gone, it's finished. Not at all. The engine, like I said yesterday, is fantastic. It's an unstoppable powerhouse, but the hybrid system on this car is more than just something that helps push the car down the road at speed. We have been leaving hotels quite early in the morning, and we have been pressing the hybrid button, which up until a certain speed, and up until the battery runs out, the engine won't kick in. You just cruise around in silence, and it's actually very good. We came down the other side of the Furka Pass, and I know, everyone will be saying I should have had the engine on and been going down there as quickly as humanly possible. But we put it into hybrid, we put Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way on, and just slowly and silently made our way down that pass, and the feeling is like nothing else I've ever had in a car. It was perfect. The car, the scenery, the music, it all just fit together as one to create this amazing feeling, and that was the first question at the very beginning of this. Is there anything a supercar can do that my Ford Focus can't? Yes, many things, but on the first pass, on the first day, I could have taken my Focus down, up and around there a lot quicker than I could have done this Ferrari, because I had no confidence in my ability to drive it. But after a few days, that confidence has grown, but so has my admiration for this car. It is the biggest attention magnet I think you could possibly drive, and it is amazing to drive. It just makes you feel, I don't know, insert your own word here. It's brilliant. The roof's off, the sun is shining, it's bright yellow, it makes the right sounds, and my Focus cannot do that. Your S2000 cannot do that, an MX-5 cannot do that. This can. Is it worth the money? To some, probably. Not to me still. £400,000 is a lot of money in anyone's book. But right now, I probably wouldn't want to be in anything else. It's fantastic. So, I'd like to give you a big thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and Jay will see you in the next one.